Your inspiration station. You're still tuned into The Kingdom with Script and good vibes only. It's Friday. That was Peruzzi with Lagbaja. I hope I pronounced that right to all my Niger brothers out there. If I didn't, I apologize. But it is time now to take a look at our game changer for the day. And every now and then we have our game changers walk in here and we chat to them and we see what they're getting up to. And in a time like this, I feel like I've said in a pandemic so many times this year already that it feels unreal now. But we really want to catch up with our game changers and see how they've been navigating their way through a time that, they say unprecedented times, but I think that's even an understatement. But today we have the pleasure of having David Wamambo in the building. I don't even know what the title is. Communication strategy enthusiast, Vaultz Connect CEO, boss man, digital marketing, Fashion Council. There's just so much on David's plate. Good morning, David.
Morning, Script. How are you?
I'm alive and well.
No, that's good to hear.
In a pandemic.
In a pandemic. And it's funny that your show is titled The Kingdom and my last name translates to kingdom. Belonging to a kingdom. So I'm in the right place.
You're definitely in the right place, man. Now, before we dive into everything that's on your plate and 2020 and everything going on, just let's take a closer look at just David. Like, tell us just a little bit about yourself, growing up, your childhood. Who is David?
All right, so David is a young man born into a very young family. Mm-hmm. My parents were both last-borns, and I was a last-born to them as well. Okay. So I'm the youngest on both sides of the family. So I grew up being the baby of the family. But funny enough, I was the entertainer. My Shona name, Chiwara Yidzo, translates to circus or dramatic.
That is
wild. So they knew what they were getting themselves into. So yeah, I'm quite withdrawn actually, funny enough, but when I get comfortable, I'm all over the place.
So you're like, if you walk into a room and you don't know anybody, you can easily just go unnoticed.
Yeah, I can easily go unnoticed. I can come to my stuff and get gone. But once I'm well acquainted, I'm at home.
The circus begins.
Yes, the circus begins. I'm ruling the place.
So the creativity came from childhood. Like, that's something that you've always been intrigued by?
I think so, because my father was an architect and my mom was a teacher. But also what they did was they were farmers and they did market gardening. So back in Zimbabwe, if you do market gardening, you're probably farming flowers with the funny vegetables that white people eat. Yeah, that you never find your fellow black people eating. So that's what they did. And they were very creative in how they did it, because if you came to our place, you would find the flowers were they were planted in such a way that they were arranged in a very meticulous way.
So like everything had order.
Yes, so everything had order. So growing up, just being surrounded by that, I just became intrigued with being creative. And my sister, the third eldest sibling, is a designer. So just being around the influence as well. And so there's that creativity aspect of just coming from a creative family.
So how did that translate now into career mode? David, into the digital marketing, into Vaultz. We're obviously going to get into those things a bit in particular. But where was the career shift now?
I think I knew what I wanted to do by the time I was in grade 5.
Really?
Yeah, I knew I was going to be a communicator. I knew that that's what I had a passion for, and so eventually I joined public speaking and I would attend public speaking competitions, Toastmasters, and in high school I was part of the junior parliament. And so funny enough, the funny story is I wasn't even supposed to be part of the junior parliament.
So what happened?
So they had their election process and the one student that was supposed to represent our constituency couldn't show up. And then they said, David can just go, he talks a lot.
Yeah, and then you just like...
They said, okay, let me go. And then, I got the spot in the junior parliament and we went to the junior parliamentary, so they then have another election where they choose the junior ministers. So also, the person that was supposed to represent the province was not feeling well. Like, David can talk.
So everything just lined up properly.
Yes, so just predestined. And funny enough, that's how my life has panned out, that I've never applied for a job.
Okay, so first of all, we're going to applaud you for that.
I've never applied for a job. I've mostly been referred to a position or headhunted. So yeah.
Since grade 5, you've
Since
never
grade 5,
applied for
And I
anything.
know if I apply for a job, I'm wasting my time.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah, that's not you.
Yeah.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. Well, congratulations on the
Thank you.
career you've had.
Thank you.
Let's talk about Vaultz Connect.
Yeah.
Now that's the first time I heard your name was Vaultz.
Vaultz Connect. Yeah.
And I didn't know because it's a magazine, it's a blog, it's a movement, but it was just a lot.
Yeah.
And I've seen it evolve over the course of we briefly spoke off air and you said it's been on for like 4 years now.
Yes.
And it's grown exponentially.
Yes.
Walk us through the Vaultz journey.
Alright, so before Vaultz, when I was studying in Zimbabwe for my bachelor's in communications, I was the head of the news for the campus radio. And what they wanted was to branch from just broadcasting to blogging. So I spearheaded that process and that gave me experience, and I worked with the US Embassy, they trained me. So I grew interest in blogging. And then I started a blog when I came to Namibia, and it was something very small, but it didn't have direction. And then eventually I then figured, okay, but Namibia has so much talent that's going uncelebrated, unnoticed, because we get stuck up in just a few names, but yet there's plenty of other people that are doing great things. And I thought it was an opportunity as well as a responsibility to give back to the creative community, because you might be creative, but also what can you do to help grow the community? And that's one of the things that drives me, helping to grow the community. So I met with a couple of friends who have skills in marketing and communications, and we sat down and then we just talked about it as an idea, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to start the blog next week. So it was in June 2017 at UNAM, and I remember all our laptops just crashed the week before.
So it was like, how are we going to start this?
So we went to the library, we stayed in the library, and people think we were studying. No.
We're busy creating Vaultz Connect.
We're busy creating a magazine, and so I remember the first cover was ZK Razor. ZK Razor, and his headwear label. So their models were on the cover, and we just put it out there at midnight, and we were wondering like who's going to look at something at midnight, and then only to wake up to 200 retweets.
And then you know 200 retweets. We look at social media numbers now and we forget that there are people behind the numbers.
Yes.
You know, so 200 retweets, some might say, well, there are blogs with like 1,000, there are blogs with 10,000. But the 200 people that are retweeting is a lot for a literal overnight, like literally overnight release.
And I tell you today that those people have been the foundation of the magazine. The first 200 have been the foundation of the magazine. Because when we then went from small scale to large scale publishing, if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be any credibility for the magazine.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So what advice would you give the upcoming bloggers and digital marketers now? Because we're seeing a surge in people taking up space in that realm. What would you say is one thing? It's very difficult, but let's narrow it down to one piece of advice that you would give all these individuals.
All right, I'll say two things. Find your niche. What are you going to be talking about? What are you going to be known for? For example, Vaultz was very specific. It's content for male artists, just bringing a focus on the male aspect, because there was monochrome, there was simply you, so no one was really paying attention to the other group as well. So find your niche and collaborate. You cannot run a blog by yourself. Collaborate, even if it means that's your personal blog, get guest bloggers at some point, interview people, collaborate. That's the only way it can be sustainable.
So find your lane and then collaborate with it.
Yes.
I like that. Now tell us about your work, the work you do for Fashion Council of Namibia. It's another big job.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Headhunted.
Yeah, headhunted as well.
Yeah, but that's true.
Headhunted as well. No, after this we're going to fill out a mock application just to see if you can fill out.
To see how
Just to see if you can. But talk to us about Fashion Council, like your work there. What is it that you do specifically for Fashion Council of Namibia, and where's the Fashion Council now in 2020?
Alright, so the Fashion Council, I joined this year in March as their digital communications board member.
Mm-hmm.
So I help them with communicating whatever the council is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So the Fashion Council is busy rebranding and repositioning itself. It's around 5 years now, so they are still trying to. So what we are doing now, let me stop saying they.
Board member.
Yeah. So what we are doing is that we are rebranding and repositioning and finding what we can add to the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Fashion Council has a lot that has happened. For example, we've had information sharing sessions that we've had on Instagram, and I remember one of our guests was a DJ that used to work for PDD from New York, and some the stylist from Macy's.
Okay.
Yeah, so my work was just organizing and getting traction from the international community so that there's a spotlight on Namibia. And we not to brag, but we see it as work because we see from then we've seen Namibians being featured in Vogue. Yeah, because there's a spotlight that we drew onto the local industry.
Sometimes you gotta brag, David.
Maybe.
Sometimes you gotta brag.
Maybe, but it's a collective effort, because if it wasn't for the team and the Fashion Council that collaborated for all that had to happen to take place, it wouldn't have happened. So we are working on a website as well. That's pretty exciting, because what we have realized that Fashion Councils globally, they gain credibility if they can feature the local designers, and so just giving them a platform to showcase their artistry. And
we can expect that in 2020 this year.
Exactly. That's why 2020 is exciting for us, because we're going to have that. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we couldn't have stakeholder engagements. We wanted to have pop-up parties where you can have a street party, and then just opportunities for designers to showcase their work. Yeah.
Now 2020, like you said, is exciting for not just the Fashion Council, but for you. Like we already just in the 5-6 minutes we had this chat. There's just so much going on for you, and part of that is being headhunted everywhere you go. But what's in store for the rest of 2020 for you?
2020, I would honestly say that for me it's been an exciting year. It's not cancelled. For me, it's just that 1 year where things are falling into place. So what I have in mind is finishing my second degree, and getting that over and done with this year. And fortunately, we don't write exams.
So it's a plus for sure.
Yeah, it's a plus. I'm just like, oh yeah, I don't have to study. So that's one. And just to see the progress that we are going to do with the Fashion Council in terms of the website and the opportunities that it will create for local designers. And one thing that we're focusing on is not just the local designers, but the entire industry, the models, people that have collaborated with local designers, for example, creative directors, musicians as well.
People, the unsung heroes.
The unsung heroes. And what I've realized about Namibia is that we have such a great opportunity to collaborate between industries. We've seen music playing a role in putting fashion, local designers at the forefront, and so that's something phenomenal. So just to document that process and to structure it, that's one thing that I'm excited for.
I like that. No, you're very busy in this 2020, and may you forever be headhunted. And
I receive.
and we're really looking forward to everything that 2020 has in store for you and every entity that you're involved with. You know, Vaultz. Vaultz, we've seen big things. And because of that, we're expecting even bigger things. Fashion Council, we're waiting for that website. And just one last note for you, like from you to the Namibian creatives, just out there in a pandemic. I'm going to say it again.
Remember why you started. Remember why you started, and stay in the purpose and end in the purpose.
Remember why you started. There you have it. Thank you so much, David. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Our game changer for the day doing extraordinary things. Remember why you started. That one definitely sticking with me. I hope it's the same for you. Let's dive right back into the kingdom. Up next, it is Lioness featuring Jay Deroby from her latest offering, Wish You Were Here. Gimme, 99. Lovely.
Thank you.
No nerves, nothing. I'm sure you don't have nerves from interviews